from UConn.
On the far right is Larry McHugh, Chairman of the UConn Board of Trustees. Next to him, UConn President Susan Herbst, Coach Jim Calhoun, Coach Kevin Ollie, and UConn Athletic Director Ward Manuel. Since we obviously have a lot of ground to cover here today, what we intend to do, I'm going to explain the format here. We're going to have some opening remarks by President Herbst and Mr. McHugh, and then Coach Calhoun will speak, and we'll have a media question and answer period with him. Following that, Athletic Director Manuel will have a few remarks, and then Coach Ollie will speak. Then we'll have question and answer periods with Ward and Kevin. For you guys in the media, we're going to run it much like an NCAA press conference if we can. We have a couple of handheld microphones held by the guys from Athletic Communications. So please raise your hands and wait until a mic gets to you. Then please identify yourself and your affiliation before you ask your questions. We'll try to get to everybody as quickly as we can. We do have copies of the releases about today's announcements, and we will provide copies of the agreements and the contracts to any of the media members who desire them. One more thing to you people sitting in the stands. We very appreciate your being here and all your support, but we would ask that you please respect the process and the fact that this is a news conference and people have to be able to hear the remarks and the questions and answers. Thank you very much. So to get us started, I'd like to introduce University of Connecticut President Susan Herbst.
Welcome everybody. Thanks students for coming out today. This is a tough day at the University of Connecticut. It's a tough day for UConn, for the state of Connecticut, and our fans and alumni throughout the nation. It's a moment of sorrow, of celebration, and admiration, most of all, for someone who's been a pillar of this community for over 25 years. We're here to announce that Jim Calhoun is stepping down as head coach of the University of Connecticut men's basketball team after more than a quarter century of extraordinary and astoundingly powerful leadership. It's challenging to put into words what Coach Calhoun means to us. Everybody in this room understands his storied career, his championships, his role in making this a truly great research university. I can't believe my own good fortune that I've had the chance to know him and work with him. And so let me not speak about wins, but about Coach as a leader and a citizen. I tell people often across the university that they should aim for excellence of the highest order, whether they're genomic scientists, policy analysts, or facilities managers. I say, look at Jim Calhoun. Look what he delivers. It takes guts and it takes tenacity. We all have different roles here, but every single person can learn from Jim's passion, his dedication, and his unbelievable intensity and desire to win. His excitement about basketball, about UConn, about the students, it's contagious, and it inspires everybody that he meets. The world beyond UConn, the people who watch Jim on TV, always entertaining, don't know Jim the man at all. They see a great coach, they see a great strategist, of course, but they don't see that he is one of the most generous people in the world. He raises money, he inspires people, young people, but most of all, he's generous with his heart. I can't tell you how many young men, students, former students, staffers, fans, have told me that Jim is like a second father to them. There's no better praise, and this, more than basketball, is his real legacy. He's a legend, and he's our legend. He brought us tremendous joy on countless dark, cold northeastern nights, and he never, ever gave up, no matter his fierce opponent. He is a walking life lesson in courage and altruism. I should note that Jim brought himself to the game and the university, and he brought his wonderful family with him. Pat Calhoun is as important to us as Jim is. She's a beacon of intelligence, of warmth, of love. Thank you, Jim, for sharing Pat with us, your two sons, your many grandchildren. We loved every minute of every year with them. Jim and Pat have contributed so much over the decades to the university and to the great causes they believe in so passionately, and that will not end. He may be stepping down as head coach, to become Coach Emeritus, but he is not leaving the university and he isn't withdrawing from public life at all. Far from it, he will continue to work with the university on a wide range of projects. Most important of these is that he'll be a central fundraiser for both our new basketball practice facility and, of course, the Jim and Pat Calhoun Cardiology Center in the Health Center. As you know, Jim is one of the best public speakers, goodwill ambassadors, and fundraisers in the state, and we need private dollars very badly at the UConn Health Center, a major institution on the rise, thanks to Governor Malloy and the legislature. We need to match the generosity of the state, and Jim will help us to do that. So Jim, for me personally, Duke alum that I am, thanks for being an inspiration and a hero. On behalf of the entire university, past, present, future, students, faculty, staff, fans, thanks for bringing us true greatness and showing us the real meaning of excellence. Oh, wait. Before Jim, we have a few of our trustees here. Thanks so much, Rick Carbray, for coming. Saw him out here somewhere. Tom Ritter, our vice chair, fabulous leader for us here at UConn. And of course, Larry McHugh, our wonderful chair of the Board of Trustees. Just wanted to say a few things before introducing Jim.
Thank you, Susan, for those wonderful remarks. My career, as you know, goes back with Jim all the way back to his old Lyme days when he was a high school coach and I was a high school coach. Jim Calhoun is a legend in coaching, but to me, he's more than that. He's a man committed to excellence, a man committed to his players, who he loves, and has dedicated his life to them. He's a stand-up guy, and I'm very, very proud of the job that he's done at the University of Connecticut. UConn Huskies is the name right now in the state, in the country, because of this wonderful man's total commitment to excellence in athletics. It gives me a great honor to introduce our coach, Jim Calhoun.
Thank you very much. I wrote notes down, particularly because this is one of the few press conferences that I've had, maybe ever, except for May 1st, 26.5 years ago. I still have the heart from Boston in there. At the Faculty Alumni Center, which is probably not in existence anymore. But more importantly, just because of all it entails and the life experiences that I've been so fortunate to have in those 26.5 years at UConn. Just down the road, as I said, 26.5 years ago, May 15th, 1986, I said that the UConn job would take some time. Well, maybe not 26.5 years, but it's going to take some time. But it's a doable situation. What's not really doable is thanking all those people along the way. And if I don't say your name, I will get that opportunity somewhere, hopefully, to do that. If I don't say how much that you mean to me, to the Calhoun family, and the picture will look different today than that first one with the four of us and the husky dog, which some of you remember. It'll look a little bit bigger today and much prettier and much nicer. Sam and handsome, I'm sorry. He's got 5 siblings, it's difficult. This all started on a trip down from Boston. Jackie McMullen, who some of you know, drove the car. It was a car then. And we were in the car, she drove and wanted to get an inside look. She's working for the Boston Globe before she went to Sports Illustrated. And Jackie was a good friend. Jimmy drove the car behind so we could get home that night. And I said, you know, this is Husky West as opposed to Husky East, which was Northeastern University. But what happened when we got here, this family of 4 was taken in by the University of Connecticut, by its state, by its fans, by its people, and you showed trust in us. The four of us came here with great promise, great ideals. When I first saw the field house, some of those ideals went away, but nevertheless, I think it was the first, Tom Ritter, I think it was the first rainy day when it leaked and we put the, Scotty probably remembers some of that too, but that happened. But you did embrace us. And most importantly, you trusted us. For some of you, you needed translators to get the Bostonian out occasionally. I always remember one fellow said simply, how are you going to understand him? Have you ever seen him coach? They don't have to understand the words. They'll understand them very quickly. And they did. We had to engage our alumni, our fans, our students, our administration, our legislator. We had to show everyone that as a member of the Big East, we had a rightful place at the table. As a matter of fact, we had a loud voice. And our first thrust was letting everybody know within our neighborhood at that time that we were going to have a voice. We were going to have something to say about the future of basketball, particularly in the Big East Conference. The first step in being special is to believe you're special. You can't do something special without believing it can happen. Foolishly enough, being stubborn and Irish, which kind of go together, I believed it. I believed every bit of it. As one night, 26 years ago, Tom Ritter believed it, and so many other people like Larry McHugh, who I talked to, and I've been just blessed with so many people who believed in that dream. And we had to engage, this can only be accomplished, this special feeling, with a collective effort by everyone. And that's one of the great stories of UConn. It took no one single person, it just took some direction. This task was much too multifaceted, much too complex for any one person to achieve. It took players from all over the country who truly believed that we were doing something very special here. Initially, it was based upon trust, on a dream, not on tangible facts that we could show them. We just come off 4, and I helped 5 straight winning seasons. But you believed. The guy from Jacksonville believed. The guy from all over the place, originally kids from Israel, believed that we could do something very special here and believed in what we were saying. Maybe because when we said it, we believed it. When we said it, we believed it. It took coaches who believed in UConn, our program, most importantly our players, and finally in me. We were just starting, but we needed to have all those people aboard because they make a difference. It took a university to support our dreams to make it all possible. It took presidents from John Castine, who hired me, to the present great breath of fresh air, and Susan Herbst, who is making a significant difference and who's going to give us an incredible future, and administrators to care about our players and coaches to allow us to achieve. It took governors, all the way up to Governor Malloy, and legislators to provide funding and support to allow us to move to a whole different level. It took an incredible support staff who only would be noticed if they didn't perform their magic behind those curtains. James Duran, my trainer, Christina Bukhari, I can say it now, and Felicia Crump, my academic advisor, my administrative assistant, and my trainer, 3 people as examples who perform their magic every single day behind those curtains. And there's been so many others. I look out there and see Howie's face, and we kind of started this whole thing together in a room over in the old field house, probably about 100 degrees, and the scary part, Howie wasn't sweating. And last, but a long way from least, our fans, whether students, faculty, employees, alumni, or just plain Connecticut folks. Without you, UConn basketball wouldn't be UConn basketball. I know many times that you think that it goes unnoticed. But every time I walk in Gamble Pavilion and the students stand and clap as I walk in, I get chills. It may go unnoticed, but certainly not to me. When you stand the entire game and will never give up on us, it's noticed, maybe not acknowledged. And lastly, the fact you stayed to the very end, that's cool. That is really, really cool. To our other fans, trust me, it's never gone unnoticed that in those cold, cold nights, rainy nights, those sleet nights, walking through snow, being taken up here in all different directions, and yet showing up to support something that you love and I love. The fact that you drove through that sleet, you drove through that rain, allowed us to be what we have become. You always felt, through all your various letters and others, things, that our players were more than shooters and dribblers and postmen, that they were people. From Mrs. Brunson's cookies, which are delivered on a regular basis, to all the other various aspects in which you've shown that they're kids, they're college students, they're student athletes, and that has always been appreciated. Trust me, you being an incredibly important part, everybody in the state of Connecticut never, ever was maybe expressed, but never, ever went unnoticed. I love this team. They're a group that's going to carry the UConn legacy on, because we do feel we're UConn men. I feel so good about them. Whether what we're playing for UConn. We're playing for the state of Connecticut. And we're playing for our basketball team. I've been asked that question enough times. The purest part of the game, we're playing for that. And they will. And just as I said to them a few minutes ago, you can separate this, you can't separate a fist. And they will be a fist and a great example of what we want. Our coaching staff, having Kevin come back, Kevin Freeman, who's going to be sensational. Having George, I think George was here before me, but having his trust and his ability and his analytical thinking, and just having George there is incredibly special. Glenn Miller, who I coached, terrific coach, terrific person. Carl Hobbs, great having him back. 1994 captain. You'll notice that we have 4 UConn guys on our staff. We think that's important. We think our legacy is important. We think our family, which all of you are a member of, in many different ways, none of that goes unnoticed. We know that you care, and we feel that you care. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least publicly introduce my family, because I usually kind of goof that up, so I'm going to just do that just for the moment. But my oldest son, Jim, just stand up and down, please. My wife, Pat. That's the best recruit I ever got. Best recruit. My son, Jeff. My daughter-in-law, Amy, former administrative assistant. My daughter-in-law, Jen, former UConn manager. And then our grandchildren, Sam, Calhoun, Avery Mary Calhoun, Katie Calhoun, Peyton Calhoun, Reese Calhoun. It's amazing they all have the last name. It's kind of funny. Emily Calhoun, our teenager. But I feel so blessed today that I have had the opportunity to coach at UConn. It's never been about me. I've just been the focal point. Now, I know I'm sometimes a rather loud and visible focal point, but, you know, the old expression, you got to be going in one direction. And I felt the direction was that we could do anything. And I feel that today as we go forward under the leadership of Susan and Ward and Larry as our board of trustees. We're in great shape, as I said before. I know that later that he'll be getting up, and I won't have the opportunity to talk about him, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Kevin, who's taking over as the head coach. Kevin Ollie, simply put, epitomizes what we want a UConn athlete, UConn student, to be all about. Now, when you say that about somebody, that's heavy stuff. I've had 200 and something players, but any foxhole you need to jump in, there's your guy. Any person that won't quit, there's your guy. He just got a PhD in 13 years in the NBA with, God rest his soul, Chuck Daly, Larry Brown. Kevin is a great basketball man. He's even a better person, and he epitomizes, I think, everything we all want at our university. And so I'm incredibly proud of Kevin, our staff, and I'd be remiss, this team that's going to bring you great delight this year because of their effort and what they do. And lastly, I'm one of the luckiest people alive because I've had a chance to touch our players' lives. I just was in with Donnie for a few minutes, and it was hard for both of us. We go back to that night I took the cab to your house. Everybody else showed up in limousines. I took a cab. Kind of a Bostonian way to do things, I guess. I coached our teams and allowed our teams to be a vehicle to shine a light on this very, very special university. For all those who have tried to understand me, I don't know how you could do that. I have a difficult time with that concept myself. But more importantly, for all those people who've reached out to help us and made the Calhoun's drive to Connecticut 26 and a half years ago awfully special, thank you very, very much.
Jim, you want me to get one of the handheld mics? So you can say, we have a quick question and answer period to the media. Gavin?
Jim, Gavin Key from the New London Day. What kept you going all these years? Kept you want to come back year after year?
Well, you know, when my dad died when I was 15, and I think other people can repeat stories, not necessarily about early death of a parent, but the place I really went was I turned to athletics. I was so, quite frankly, devastated with his death. And family of 6 and all the other things that happen to people during life. And I turned to athletics, and it was the place that I felt the most comfortable, whether you're competing in football, baseball, basketball. But basketball, to me, all you needed was a boy, a ball, and a dream. And therefore, I could do away those things and thoughts I had, which weren't the greatest thing. And so it became home, I guess, Gavin, for me. The gym, and I still call the place we played in Houston, 78,000, it's a pretty good gym. It's a little bigger than a pretty good gym, but my point being, very definitively, that to me it's a gym. It's a place of comfort, it's a place of competition, it's a place to seek excellence, and it's a place to grow. That you can be the judge, and others can be the judge. Have you truly messed the test? I always say to our kids, and they know the words, are you going to the gym for recreation, or are you going to work? Or are you going to work? And there's a comfort level with me in the gym. I'll miss the gym greatly, but I expect to be down here. I expect to be down here, sitting here, talking about various different things and other aspects of it. I can't, and I won't get away from basketball. But the gym always is the place, and I always felt, and I still feel, that we're just getting going. We've had some bumps in the road, but today, if you look around to some of the great institutions in America, they're having bumps in the road too. It's just natural, normal in our society today. And my point being simply is that, you know, we got more. We got more. And I guess I always felt that way, Gavin. It was always the next step, the next player, the next game, and kind of who I'm built. And so some of the difficulties I may or may not have had certainly carried that. And, but I always returned to something that I felt very comfortable with, and that was the gym.
Pat Eaton-Robb from the Associated Press. Coach, on the other side of that, what were the factors that made you decide it was the time, and when did you make that decision?
Well, it's been a long time, and you know, some folks have asked, you know, did your hip injury lead to you not coaching? No, you know, I'm I hope to be better in the next 3 or 4 weeks in practice. I mean, I certainly could do that. But I think it gave me the hip injury actually gave me a momentary pause. For example, I couldn't do anything for 2 weeks except have an angel wait on me and my wife. And my point being, it gave me a lot of time to contemplate some of the things in my life. And I looked around and looked at our staff, looked at Kevin, looked at our kids, our players, looked at Susan, Larry, Tom, Ward, and knew, well, we're heading in the right direction. We're going to have bumps in the road. We've had them in the past. But, you know, we're 16 months removed from a national championship. We have a bump in the road right now. Small bump. It's behind us. It is behind us. We're going to make it behind us. It is. And we're going forward. So as I looked at everything, so many things are in place for us to even go farther than we have already. So I thought it was an excellent time. I really feel the university is in incredible shape. And by the way, I'd like to, in a different sort of way, because I knew that this day was coming, be a part of it in a whole different way.
Jim, Ken Davis over here.
Okay, Ken.
Fox Sports Next. When you arrived here in May of '86, on that drive you talked about, I think Jeffrey was wearing his red Northeastern socks in protest.
Protest, yes.
Yeah. And you talked about how tough it was to leave the kids at Northeastern that day. Can you compare that decision to how tough it was to come to this point today?
Well, two things. First thing, it just is sad. When I went into the locker room and looked at Shabazz, Tyler, the guys, Boat, for the next half an hour, my guys. And they'll always be my guys, though, just as Donnie, Ray, Rudy, Scotty, Tony, they're my guys. And here, I'll have them. And our family will build and grow as these young guys come along and join that family with the achievement. They'll be watched over, I know, very closely by us. But I thought it was the right time for me. Thank God, physically I'm very healthy. I always felt last year guilty about missing 11 games. You know, I didn't cause the back problem, but I missed 11 games. And I just didn't want anything to get in that way. And as I said, I'm at a point where I have incredible amounts of energy. I have a lot of things I know I can do and help. And I know who's in place. And that's very, very important. Who's in place is very important. We have, if I went through the number of wins from Carl getting GW to 5th in the country to Glenn being the greatest coach in Brown history, 5 straight wins. See, I'll go right through it. George, 500 wins, et cetera. We're in a great place. And obviously, that is shown there, but it's shown certainly as much up here.
Jim, Dave Borges, New Haven Register. Just this season, how often do you plan on being around the team, and in what capacity? Will you be at practices and things like that, and how's your involvement going to be this year?
Well, I mean, I think the involvement will be to make sure that I fully turn over the responsibilities. I think the kids know one of the things I said to them was, I don't want to hear about playing time. You go talk to Coach Ollie about that, okay? But I do want to hear about, what I do want to hear about is that I can look at you in a different sort of way now. The passion and some of the personal involvement will be there. The passion of a just completed game won't be anywhere near as much. And therefore I can objectively look at you in a whole different set of circumstances. I'll see them more individually. I'll have more time for them. So I will be at practice. I would never tell Kevin, I would never tell any of our staff what to do, but if they sought my advice, I clearly would give my advice. I've been known to do that on various occasions, and that just happens. That's their choice, and if they ask, they're going to hear. But more importantly, I think it's important for me, and I know I keep saying this, but and a lot of you are members, and I can see you and know you and so on. Our family is a close family, and no matter what I'm doing, you know, I'm available to Kevin 24 hours a day, as I am to the rest of the staff, as I am to the guys. So that kind of describes who and where I'll be. But I said to some recruits and different people that I'll be here at UConn with or without a whistle. It's going to be without a whistle, but I feel I can do an awful lot to help the entire university, including basketball, going forward.
Jim, Mike Leslie from ABC 40 in Springfield, Massachusetts. One of the foundations for your career was at AIC up there in Springfield. Can you talk about how that kind of shaped you as a player and eventually as a coach?
Yeah, because we got to AIC, they had some very poor seasons. And what we were able to do with a bunch of guys and our coach, Bill Calhoun, we were able to build something to become an NCAA tournament. I think we were ranked number 2 in the country, go to Evansville, Indiana, and play for the national championship. And a lot of good things happened out of my career there. But it started out after me working for 2 years. So when I came there, I maybe had a little different mindset. And now I had more obstacles come over. Our team had more obstacles come over. And I always consider that was just part of your life. Matter of fact, I think I function on that. I think I function on that. The day that Kevin, the day I or any of the coaches come in here worrying that they have problems, no, you're going to have problems. It's your job to fix those problems, and I think that's what I would try to do. So at AIC, the problem was simply we need to get better. We need to get better players. We did, and we had a great deal of success there.
Coach Kevin Nathan, NBC Connecticut. First, how emotional is this for you, and what do you want your legacy to be at UConn?
Well, I think people who know me will, and I think Susan was more than kind about it, will determine my character, which I'm much more concerned with, and others will determine my legacy. And I truly believe that. I think others are going to determine your legacy, and that's the way of being a public figure. But I think that character is what I want to be judged as. The kind of person, I never, ever said that I was mistake-free. I never said I wouldn't want to take that back, maybe. But I think the purpose that I had was always headed in the right direction. I was always trying to do the right thing. Didn't always work that way, but I was always trying to do the right thing. I think if you maintain that, your character stays in thought, and you feel better about yourself. Because once again, if you listen to what everybody else says about you, good or bad, then if you believe the good, you got to believe the bad. So I try to judge myself by my players, by the guys who I've coached, by my coaching staff. I try to judge by people that I have great respect for.
Jim Dalamori from The Current. As a first-time head coach, can you talk about the challenges that Kevin is going to be facing, and what are some of the things that you really can't prepare for until you're in that position?
Well, just quickly, Tommy Izzo called me this morning, and Tommy's a very good friend, and just wanted to get a hold of me. He was an assistant for 5 years under Judd Heathcote, a walk-on at Michigan State, and he's done pretty well. Tommy's done pretty well, and he just said to me, the thing that maintained me and got me through a couple of tough years when he first started was very simply, I believed that Michigan State should and would be good. And that will overcome any other desire. Kevin Ollie believes that UConn should and will be very good. And he will work every single day, sorry Shannon, 12 hours a day if he has to make that happen. Any guy who went through, his NBA career is almost a story unto itself, and I think a lot of you know that story of X number of teams, etc. It's a remarkable story. It's a remarkable story. Kevin has actually been rejected a time or two. So recruiting rejection is not going to, next guy, we got to go get the next player. Lose a game, next game. And I think that, as I said before, he has all the intangibles and the knowledge. I always say if you spend 13 years under some of the coaches that he spent, you have a PhD in basketball. And he's going to get the opportunity, certainly, to be able to express it on the court with his team.
Coach Kevin Duffy from the Connecticut Post. Even before Kevin got here as an assistant coach, were you keeping tabs on him, and did you see him as someone who could potentially fill the role that he's in now?
More and more, as I watch a lot of our kids, whether it be Scotty, whether it be Donnie, or whoever else our players may be, and you know, Scotty's now at Quinnipiac, et cetera, and working for Tom Moore, and just all the various things that have happened. You know, I think you look at your players, and without question, you kind of say, yep, he's got some special characteristics. And I think that when he would visit back here, and I know I could talk to Howie or to any of the other coaches about this, you know, he brought. You knew about Kevin Ollie right away. As I said, for 3 straight years, I lined up somebody to beat him out. He'll tell you the story. He picked the guy up in the locker room before practice and wore players out, because that's who he is. That's who he is. Yet he's got as high character and moral fiber as any guy I know. He's so much tougher than everybody thinks he is. You don't do what he did if you're not tough and you're not resilient. And the most important thing, he's caring. He's an incredible caring person. And as I said before, he epitomizes what we want. Are there other guys that I could have thought of? Yeah, there really are. But I think within our family, Kevin's a pretty special guy. Really special guy, matter of fact.
Anybody else? Thank you. UConn Athletic Director Ward Manuel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to add a little bit to what President Herbst said earlier and thank Jim for all that he's done for 26 years for the student athletes, the men's basketball program, this athletic department, UConn, and the state of Connecticut. His tireless efforts have made us all better. His drive gave us championships, and his unwavering dedication to success made us all believe that anything is possible. I'm looking forward to working with him for the next 6 months as we go through this transition, to raise money for the practice facility, and to get his advice on other issues that arise. I will admit that I've already told my staff that we are going to have to now make administrative work look exciting. Because with Jim around, it's going to be exciting whether we like it or not. And I think I'm going to be the brunt of all the advice, Kevin, that's coming your way, whether you like it or not, right? I also really want to thank Pat for all of her unyielding support over the years for Coach and for UConn. Her dedication to Jim, their sons, Jim and Jeff, her family, and her beautiful grandchildren. That deserves another round of applause. Thank you, Pat. I've also had the opportunity over the past few months to meet Jim and Jeff, and I do want to thank you for your support of your dad, for sharing him with us, and your love of UConn. Thanks, guys. When I arrived at UConn earlier this year, one of the very first questions that I received was, if Jim Calhoun decides to retire, what are you going to do? I thought to myself, that's a very good question. And then I kept walking. Jim is the seminal figure in the history of this program and UConn athletics. And one of the legends of college basketball, period. It's never easy replacing the legend. This will be a transition that's tough. But he's going to be by my side. He's going to be there for Kevin and for this university, and that'll make it a little bit easier. And we're going to manage this transition wisely and deliberately in a way that best serves this team and this university. I'm very happy that Kevin Ollie, who's a student athlete here at UConn, professional athlete for 13 years, assistant coach here for the last few years, has agreed to serve as our head coach. Kevin has been working tirelessly to prepare himself for this opportunity. I also want to welcome Stephanie, Jalen, and Cheyenne to a head coach's family. It's going to be a little different for you, the spotlight, but I know they're prepared from having met them over the years, so welcome. So what's next for UConn? When it comes to where we go from here, folks, there's no secret backdoor route, and there's no mystical silver bullet. The fact is that Kevin and I and everyone here know exactly what must be done and exactly how we're going to do it. And it's the way that Coach Calhoun has done it for years. We're going to continue to build on the program's success, develop these student athletes, recruit exceptional athletes, practice and play to win, and work together to achieve greatness on and off the court. Kevin knows this program and knows this team. And he has said before, as a player and assistant coach, he learned from one of the very best, Jim Calhoun. And Kevin is ready to do the work that must be done. As head coach, I know he will do it well. And I will be there every step of the way to support his efforts. Our expectation for tomorrow are exactly the same as they were yesterday. We will strive for excellence and expect to see a team whose work and performance on the court and in the classroom will earn the continued pride, enthusiasm, and excitement of this university and our fans. This program, like Jim Calhoun himself, is one of storied titans of the game. And I would ask that the former players that are here attending please stand up and receive a round of applause. Yes, that includes you too, Jeff. The University of Connecticut and our entire state expect the best from all of us. And we will deliver because we know we can. And it's my pleasure to bring up the next head coach of the University of Connecticut, Kevin Allen. Kevin.
First of all, I want to give honor to my God and my Savior. I want to just thank Him for this opportunity, because without Him, nothing is possible, nothing is created. So I really want to thank Him. I want to thank the Board of Trustees, Chairman Larry McHugh, for this opportunity. We met at the Middlesex Chamber, and you told me I was a special person then. And hopefully I can continue to remind you that I can be a special person as I go on through this chapter in my life. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you, President Herbst, for believing in me. When we got to that, President Obama spending time with me, that was a great time at the White House, and hopefully we'll be back soon. So, but I want to thank you for always being accessible, just through this time. Every time I call on you, you're right there. If you're at engagement, you stop your engagement and you're right there. So I'm gonna hopefully be there for you. Anything you need from me, anything you need from my players, we're gonna be right there and we're gonna represent UConn the right way. And I really thank you for this opportunity. To Ward, I appreciate you. I appreciate you that we're locked arms right now. Giving me this opportunity is a dream come true. I wouldn't want to be nowhere else but right here. This is my dream job. I was made for this job. And I thank you for this opportunity. I really do. I thank you. And to my second father, Coach, you mean the world to me. It's just like the other day I was sitting over there with my LA hat on. Me and Donnie was here on our recruiting visit. Had my milkshake in my hand. That's what really got me, my milkshake. So, and then Coach was yelling and doing what he had to do and coaching his brains out. And then a fight broke out right there. Rod Sellers and Mark Sir. I said, this is the place for me. This is just like LA. So I was sold in. I was sold in. So he didn't have to recruit me no more, but you know, just looking out in the audience, Coach D, you recruited me like anybody else, nobody else. And I know Travis Best was right around the corner, and I know Coach was like, you better get Travis Best, you know, but you probably was fighting for me, and I appreciate you. Always fighting for me.
always telling me no one works harder, and I always use that strength and that motivation to always prove that you was right. Every time you told me that I was the toughest man in the gym, and I wanted to prove you right every time. So I appreciate you taking that trip down to LA and bringing me back and seeing me at Boo Williams down in Virginia. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach. To all the players I played with, y'all mean the world to me, and y'all part of this family, and I want y'all to be involved in this, pushing me. I can see higher on the shoulders of giants, and y'all are giants in my life. I really mean that, from Rudy Johnson, from Scott Burrell that's sitting right there. I always play with Donnie, came in here with Donnie, seeing Tony there. A coach said, I epitomize this. You epitomize it. You epitomize it, because you're coming back for your degree. And through all the challenges and through all the distractions, you back here for UConn. And I want all our student athletes, if you leave early, everybody that's watching on whatever news state, we always got a home here for y'all to come back and finish up your degree, because academics is the first and foremost thing at this university, and it's going to stand there. And we're going to stand through this time, and we're going to be there for one another, and we're going to extend everything we can extend to our family, making sure that y'all come back and be with us. To my coaching staff, I can't say enough. I got the best coaching staff in America. I really do. We're going to be in that bunker. I know y'all saying, oh, coach is gone. We're going to be in that bunker 3 hours. Don't say y'all not got to get a free pass. So we're going to be in that bunker 3 hours, because we got a job we got to do. And we got to work together. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to get it done. We're going to attack this thing head on. We're going to trust in one another. We're going to agree to disagree sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's about UConn basketball. It's about UConn basketball and how we go forward. And we're going to go forward. And we have enough right here in this room. We have enough. I want to thank my players for being here. Y'all the most loyal guys I know. Y'all the most loyal guys I know. And, you know, it's a situation where I got to stand up and be loyal. I got to be here for y'all. I got to be here for y'all. I love y'all. We going to work hard. I'm going to push y'all. Y'all going to say I'm crazy sometimes, but it's going to be a good crazy, because y'all going to know every time I believe in y'all. I believe in y'all, and I want y'all to be better. Not only basketball, I want y'all to be better men. Better men, that y'all come back. And the only thing I ask for y'all is y'all come back and help the other guys that we're trying to culture. And we're trying to get to that next point. I want y'all to always come back and do that for me. And I want y'all to believe in me as we go through this journey, and know for a fact that I believe in y'all. I believe in y'all. My support group that's behind our players, I can't do this. I can't stand here without y'all. I can't do it. I mean, y'all are the reason why we able to be where we at each and every day. The scheduling, the treatments, when everybody sleep, y'all getting the phone calls that I got an ache here and there, and James is running and taking people to the hospital, and Christina, you always gonna be right there with me. I know I might be different from Coach, but I'm gonna be in your office too, getting my schedule together, and I just appreciate you, and I just appreciate everybody. I see the coaches there. I see Tom Moore. I see Tim and Steve Peichel and Coach Peichel. I just love you guys, and I'm not gonna be a recruit, but I'm gonna call y'all in the midnight wee hours and ask for some advice sometimes, and I know y'all gonna always pick up the phone for me, and I trust in that. I trust in that so much. Last but not least, I want to thank my family, my beautiful wife Stephanie. I don't know why I got this ring on. I thought she was gonna divorce me yesterday. It was our 14th year anniversary yesterday. And I think I spent about 10 minutes with her. So I'm glad it was everything hit, and I was on the phone and talking to Coach, and you know, but she didn't murmur a word. But I love you, baby, and I see you when you come up to the bed, and I just thank you for that, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But she was already asleep, so she was already asleep. She was gone, because I got to bed like 2:30. I got to bed at 2:30. She was gone. She was already asleep. But I want to thank my beautiful daughter, Cheyenne, for your love and your support. You daddy's little girl. And it's always always a great time walking you to the bus stop down the hill with our dog. I was like, don't call me at that time. That's the best time of the day. Walking you to the bus stop and you waving to me. So I love you, and I know you're going to be right there for me. To my son, Jalen, he got a big football game today. I hope I ain't take him out of practice tomorrow, but you're the reason why I am who I am. When you was born and being bed-stricken for 6 weeks, you was tough. And I changed my life because of you. Because you gave me that strength to say, I can make it. I don't care if I'm in a CBA, I don't care if USBL, driving down to Milford, I can make it. And I thank you for being so tough. When I needed it, you was there, and you gave me strength, and you're going to continue to give me strength. And I love you so much. And to my nephew, CJ, that's staying with us, you know, you're a love of my life, and you like a son to me. So, you know, y'all continue to do good in school, all right? You know, you make Daddy proud when y'all good at school. And to Rick and Carly, you know, y'all extension of my family, and y'all always been with me every step of the way. So I just want to thank you. Y'all fans, y'all the reason why I can't leave. I'm going to be right here on that side of that bench. I can't leave you guys. UConn is a special, special, special place. And it's only because y'all fans, y'all camp out there, y'all run in, y'all give us energy. And even when the down times, y'all pushed me up. Y'all told me to get through it. 91 and 95 was the best times of my life when I walked down here and was here as a student athlete. But it's the reason why I come. It's the reason why I want to be here. I want to give y'all victories, but I also want to present our team as the way we supposed to be presented, with strength, with character, with discipline, with focus, with the appetite and the integrity to get better and challenging ourselves every day. And I know y'all gonna be with us. I know it's gonna be some ups and downs, but y'all gonna be right there with us. And I thank y'all so much, UConn Nation, for always being there. And I don't call you fans, y'all family. So I thank you for our family and always being there. I appreciate you so much. And as I embark on this journey, I want to just say, we're going to take the stairs and not the escalator, because the escalator's for cowards. We're going to take the stairs, and it's going to be one step at a time, and we're going to get there. And your future is not given to you. You got to take it, and we're going to take it. Ship might not come in the land, but we're going to swim right out to it. I promise you that. And I'm going to be in that bunker for you guys, and we're going to get down. I might not see my wife to April, but she's going to be all right. But we're going to get there. And I love y'all, and I can't wait to see y'all on Friday to start. And Coach is going to be right there beside me. And I thank him for this opportunity. I can't say it enough. And behind closed doors, he knows what he means to me. And in front of all you, I just want to tell you, I love him. I love him from the bottom of my heart. I love his family. Miss Calhoun, every time he yelled at me, you always gave me a kiss. So I love you so much for that. I love you so much for that. And that was a lot of kisses, you know that. Yeah. And just all of your family, I just love you. I just love everybody, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you know, all our student athletes that came through this university that's not present. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Kimber too. I love you. I love you. I really do, because you what UConn is all about. You what UConn is all about, to graduate in 3 years and to do the things you've done, and you're going to be an all-star. But you already an all-star person. So everything else is gravy. So I love you, and I thank everybody for this opportunity. Thank you.
you have the 18th head coach of the University of Connecticut men's basketball team, Kevin Ollie, as Phil Chartis, the sports information director for basketball, takes the podium again. Kevin Ollie just looked at the crowd and said, I was made for this job. We're going to represent UConn the right way. I believe I hear Kevin asking a question, so let's listen in for a moment.
Well, in my mind, we have a long-term vision. I do, for Kevin. But it's a short-term challenge of, I haven't seen him coach. He's never been a head coach. So as I've explained to him, this is, in my mind, as I approach this, is not when we have a term, obviously, to the deal, but this is a commitment to him to see what he's like as a head coach.
All right, Kevin Nathan just asked Ward Manuel, the athletic director, about the duration of Kevin Ollie's new contract. It's only for 1 year. He's being paid $625,000. Kevin asking what kind of a commitment that is to Kevin Ollie. Ward Manuel saying, hey, he's never coached big-time team before. He wants to see how he does. Understandable on both sides, but Kevin Ollie has signed on for a job that he says to his players, it's going to be crazy, but a good crazy, inviting all of his old teammates to pitch in, be part of the UConn family, telling them, I can see higher on the shoulders of giants. Jim Calhoun crediting the two women who were the real movers and shakers in this transition. First of all, he called his wife Pat my best recruit, but also revealing was what he said to UConn President Susan Herbst. He called her a great breath of fresh air, the atmosphere around UConn changing when she took over in the last year or two. So there you have it. Jim Calhoun retiring after 26 years as the head coach of the University of Connecticut basketball team. We will have complete team coverage starting on NBC Connecticut News at 5. See you then.